There is a raging debate right now about the IT laws that are being implemented. Right to privacy in India is a fundamental law. What does rights of people really mean? What does individual freedom really mean? And in that context only, what does right to privacy really mean? Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Truth Shots with Kapil. Well, Delhi is still in a lockdown. We are still in the midst of the coronavirus phase 2. While this particular wave is now starting to reduce, there are much lesser cases in Delhi compared to what they were a month back, but we are still in a state of lockdown. Amidst all this, there is a raging debate right now about the IT laws that are being implemented. Laws that are going to curb the freedom of the various social media platforms and in turn curb the freedom of the various users of it. Let me put the discussion in a context. What the government has said is privacy is a fundamental law. Right to privacy in India is a fundamental law. However, right to privacy in India is not an absolute law. Now, what's the difference between the two? An absolute law is the right to life. Something that under any circumstances cannot be taken away. Fundamental rights, while they are fundamental in nature, they are still laws that have a but associated with it. That have a situation where they can be taken away. Now, before I get into too much details of the IT law and I will explain what it means, I first want to show my grievance right now. And my problem, and I have talked about it in previous episodes of Truth Shots with Kapil as well. My problem is in a corona world, where we have all chosen to side with safety and security versus freedom, what does right to privacy or what does fundamental right or any right really mean? The government over the last some time, and I'm not just talking India, I'm talking global. The government across the globe over the last some time has taken up steps which are of course against fundamental tenets of freedom. Now the government has taken those because they need to make the citizens more safe. The citizens have accepted those because they want to be safer. However, that is where my problem is. As Thomas Jefferson famously said, those who choose safety instead of freedom deserves neither. And that is what is happening right now. We have chosen to side with safety and security. We have chosen to let the government take power in their hands, way above and beyond any of the constitutions across the globe in any of the countries that you are in really provided. Governments have chosen to take this and they will find it increasingly difficult to give those up. Today, you've been asked not to step out of your house because there is coronavirus. Tomorrow, you will be asked because there is a terrorist threat. The day after, you will be asked because there is something else or something else. And over a period of time, you will see that the personal freedom that we all reveled in, that we all thought is the basic tenet of life in the 21st century, gets taken away. Now, having said this, let me get back to the IT law. Well, IT law, you can be on both sides of it. As a digital expert, somebody who has been working in this area for the last 12-15 years, I don't think what the government is saying is wrong. However, it is the same problem that I have with the implementation of lockdowns and everything. Government is taking a certain amount of authority and power, which reasonably, if it is just about this one thing, if it is just about national security, they are absolutely within their limits and within their rights to do it. But really the problem is, where does it stop? And who is the decision maker of what is national security or what is not national security? Now, here is what the government is asking the social media platforms to do. Number one, any social media platform will need to provide government information about originator of a message that the government labels as a dubious or as a message against national interest. So not somebody who forwarded, but where did it actually originate from? Reasonably, you could say in the midst of all the fake news and everything, it's a reasonable request. Second, what the government is saying is they have to remove content within 36 hours of a legal order. So if there is ever a legal order against a particular piece of content, labeling it as fake news, labeling it as against national interest, labeling it as wrong, or however it plays out, they will have to take it out in 36 hours. Third, they will have to appoint Indian citizens in various compliance related roles, those who the government can then of course hold to account. They can be more familiar with the laws of the land and stuff like that. Number 4, government is asking all social media platforms to set up a grievance redressal system, and any complaint that is received by them need to be solved in a certain amount of time, within 72 hours, or again depending on when is it listed and how is it taken care of. Of course the complaints would take more than 72 hours, but the grievance redressal system says you have to respond to it within 72 hours. Last and not the least, I'm saying last in terms of the key features of the law, last is they will have to take down any content which is labeled as pornographic. That's it. Now on the surface you would say, well, is it really wrong? It's not. And that's not what I think people like me are going to argue against. The problem is, where does it stop? Who is going to define what is in favor of or against national interest? Who is going to define what is fake news and what is not? Who is going to define whether somebody has a right to express a certain thought or doesn't have the right to express a certain different thought? In that sense, what we are really seeing is this growing discussion around what does rights of people really mean? What does individual freedom really mean? And in that context only, what does right to privacy really mean? For me, I would always side in the favor of freedom. I would always side in the favor of people's right to express themselves, people's right to all other fundamental rights. However, in my opinion, there is a lot more that need to be done to educate people about taking whatever is being posted, whatever information they receive, and really deciding how they proceed, how they filter it out. Where there is a government control that is needed is not really, in my view, is not really in curbing what the social media platform would show. Where there is a decision that needs to be done, or where there is curbs that need to be done, is to take away the power of a social media platform to decide what they will show or what they will not show. That is where my fundamental problem is. This entire concept of social that says if you like a certain piece of content, I will show you more of that content, is what really spreads fake news. It is what really spreads hatred, is what really spreads the ignorance that persists amongst people that are watching certain message. If the platforms are showing all different point of views equally to every individual, I don't think we will have that problem. However, that will take away the basic tenet of how some of these social media platforms make their money. And that's the challenge. So with that, I will end this episode of Truth Shots with Kapil. Please come back, ask questions. Let's have a dialogue around this and keep coming back. Thank you so much.